Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to quickly try and demonstrate and explain how I have the illumination connected inside of my 2630 call director for the custom illuminated keypad. So I've done a few videos now on how I made the dial and then what the phone looks like with it in use. But I've gotten a few comments actually interested in the illumination, so I'm going to just quickly run through how I basically connected it. Full disclaimer, currently it has a few flaws, but this should at least give you ideas on how you can improve or how you could make your own circuit better. So I made this lousy diagram here to try and help me explain, and I can also show you places on the terminal board here. If you're doing it on a 2565 or on a more simple phone, that would be definitely a lot easier to wire, but all the things I have chalked in here just makes it chaotic. Basically, I have a headset, handset, or for a speakerphone operation all wired into this. All of them are wired into the dial circuit as well, so no matter what thing you operate, the dial gets brighter or dimmer depending. You might notice the LEDs have been flickering, and that was a problem with my power limiting, so I'm going to be doing an update soon, and I'll post another video once I'm finished with that, because it should look better than this. Anyway, so yellow, green, green, yellow, coming from the 25 pair cable on this phone. The original cable was cut, so it's currently wired on a 25 pair. Yellow, green, green, yellow have a 10 volt DC supply always on them. So that was an idea I got from the Princess phone because they used yellow, green, green, yellow as the pair for power. So I just did the same thing here. And so this is negative and this is positive. So the negative wire is always connected to the load, which is a relay and then the illumination dial. So positive goes, one wire goes here, which then gets connected onto a resistor, which I think was 2000 ohms, and then it gets connected onto this point, which then goes to the dial, and that gives you the night light. So it's always connected to this resistor right here. So I just sort of did, these are two separate, these are all different screw connections. And then the other side goes to the hook switch and then gets passed through when the hook switch is closed, goes to this terminal, and then goes through a diode, and then goes to the same screw terminal, which goes to the keypad illumination. So this gives you the night light versus full on effect that the Princess phone does, almost exactly the same. So it gets brighter and dimmer. And then the relay that you hear clicking is located underneath the dial, and it is just connected onto this side of the diode. So it only gets power when the hook switch is activated. And then the relay is to activate the line card in a 1A2 phone. Because normally the yellow and brown wires, which is what I used for the hook switch, pass line card ground through them. And originally I tried to connect the light circuitry into the same grounding system as the line cards, but if I left a key depressed, and basically if I left a key depressed and I had hung up the line card would remain activated. And the reason why is it was getting ground through the illumination circuitry with the resistor. So if you didn't want a night light, it would probably be easier to just connect it onto the same ground as your key system. So you need to make sure it's the positive side you connect onto ground, because that's the positive side of the circuit. And then you would pass that on to the common terminal, and then you'd get the output voltage for the light. And the light that I did is a 3mm blue LED wired in series with a 12-volt light strip, and that's to protect the blue LED from burning out. I still haven't completely perfected the art of making a step down voltage reduction, so that's just my simple way of reducing power, is just to wire these 12-volt light strips. And I have two different light strips here, and that's one is for the keypad light, the other one is for the turn dial light right here. You can see it's glitching out right now. And the reason why it's glitching out is because I have two. Is basically both of the lights, because I have two separate 12-volt light strips, each wired in series the same way, and they're stealing power from each other. And since the orange and blue LEDs have different power draws, it's just not staying how I want it to. And then additionally, if you're doing 4A speakerphone or headset is pretty simple. The wires, whichever ones are for the A lead operation, just get connected where the hook switch is. So one side coming from positive, the other side goes here, and boom. If you're doing 4A, it's a bit more tricky. 4A has A1, so it has A1 and then AG and LK. So A1, if you're using a normal 4A connection block, you won't have an A1 wire to connect. But I used this this plug here to connect the 4A. So for that, A1 gets connected onto, it would normally be the ground for the key system, so common ground, which in my case is the positive wire. So A1 gets connected there. And then you have AG and LK. So LK gets connected onto the slate wire of the hook switch, because when the hook switch is down, so when the handset is not in use, the yellow wire goes to slate, and then slate would go to the 4A to provide power, and A1 is simply connecting a ground for the key system. And then you have AG, which gets connected over here. So then when you activate the 4A, it gets power from slate wire of the hook switch, LK, and then passes power to AG, and therefore activates the dial and the relay, which then activates the line card. And then if you lift the handset while the 4A is in use, it deactivates the 4A. I additionally wired in a station lamp. So that's this green light, which was inspired by the older 3A type key rows. Here, I'll get one quick just to show you. The 3A key rows look like this, and so you have the on and then off, and then volume control and the transmitter. But I was not able to pull that off for the 4A, so it's just simply an on and then an off. And so with the 4A, the speaker itself has a relay, actually has 2 relays built into it. So whenever it's activated, it switches between 2 different wires. And on a normal terminal block connection for the 4A, you would use the option plug in order to select between ring cutoff and then a busy lamp or station active lamp. And with this plug though, you have to make all your connections by hand. I don't currently remember which wires were which, but I just connected to that connect together or short together when the 4A is activated, so that I could get the station lamp, and it's powered off of the same power supply as the dial. So this is a bit of a lengthy explanation video. If anyone's interested in this though, hopefully it helps. If you have any additional questions or things I forgot to mention, just leave a comment and I will respond back to you as fast as I can. Yeah, if you have any suggestions on how I should improve this, let me know, I guess. Overall, I'd say it's a decent system. I'm going to be working on the power limiting, and I might ditch the headset because I just haven't been using it much. Anyway, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my other videos on my channel.